Okay, so this is my story about the time I tried to get help at my Roman Catholic high school, which was later exposed as being run by a pedophile priest. So, yeah, it went really well. Of course not. So, what had happened, I was 17 years old, and I, I won't get into how it came to be that I ended up talking to the school counselor, who had asked me if anyone had ever like touched me or something. There was something in the way he said it in a way that I didn't like. And my family, my dad was like very violent. He was just like, he knew he couldn't leave marks. So he was deliberately terrorizing everyone. And I ended up talking to this counselor, and I reported what I now know to recognize as a long-standing pattern of serious abuse against very small children, well, against all children, but is also including very small children, which of course triggers the mandatory reporting thing. However, what happened, and it took me a long time to figure this out, because, as a 17-year-old in the middle of it, I didn't know what was going on. What happened was apparently he called my parents instead of reporting it. And his asking me these questions and having me start talking about it actually put me into a really serious PTSD episode. I was like really compromised during this time. And then all of a sudden he wouldn't talk to me anymore. I would try and set up appointments and he'd say, "Oh yeah, I'll come and get you." And he never would. And my parents, my mother all of a sudden is being really nasty to me. Like, she actually tried hitting me once, and it was the only time in my life I like swatted her back. I was like, "What are you doing?" Because I was 17. Like, why are you, what? But I was like, I don't understand what's happening. My mom is being really, really mean to me. And he says, "Oh, well, you're going away to college next year, and she's probably struggling with that. Sometimes people have a hard time with that kind of adjustment and loss. And, so maybe it's just making her really irritable and it's coming out as her lashing out at you," which makes absolutely no sense. But what started happening was I had multiple teachers, like 3 of them, who in my presence, two of them in, sorry, there goes my lamp. 2 of them during class, like in front of the whole class, if I'm remembering correctly, talked about how they were mandatory reporters and they had to deal with this before. And so if you ever felt unsafe in your home or there was abuse going on, that you could talk to them and they would get you help. And because literally one of these teachers got me a loan in a car. She was driving me to to a speech competition. And she told me this. And the problem was my parents had been telling me that my complaints about the way they treated me and my siblings were just ridiculous. And I was just being, I was just whining and being a baby. And now I have talked to an adult authority figure about what was going on. And they clearly didn't see that there was a problem. So when these other adults were saying, "Hey, if you're not safe, if there's abuse happening, blah, blah, blah," I literally did not know they were talking to me. I was well into adulthood before I looked back and realized, oh my God, they were totally trying to talk to me. But you end up in this like world of optical illusions when when you're dealing with abusers. It's especially as a kid, like you don't know. I grew up with people telling me how lucky I was to have such a good dad who cared so much about me. And I'm like, you guys think this is okay? Like, it was genuinely kind of delightful to discover that in reality, no, most people wouldn't actually think someone who behaved that way was a good person. People really just didn't know what was happening. But it created this like optical illusion in my world where I was like, okay, I guess this is like what people think is okay. I don't yeah, I don't support this crap. But yeah, so that was what actually happened. And as it turns out, years later, the principal of the school, this man, he was caught by a parent, and apparently there had been some rumors and complaints for a very long time, but he was caught by a parent looking at porn, on child porn on his phone, and they reported it. And when the police came to find him, he threw his phone into a pond and went into hiding. His name is Father James McGrath. You can look it up. It was Providence Catholic High School, New Lenox, Illinois. Yeah, yeah, that was the high school that I went into, or that I was in. And of course, the counselor who I saw, Father John Merkelis, is currently the principal of the school. So everything's fine now. Don't you see? People like me, I should just stop being angry. Anyways, yeah, so that's how it is here on the ground. There's your tea for today. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.